Youngster, do you believe if I call you an activist, or do you think you and activism have nothing related to each other? According to the research of Gillian Schuler and Kevin Harris, two political science professors, activism is the practice of taking direct action to achieve political or social goals. If this term is precisely considered, some of us teenagers may question if we might actually be the force behind such significant changes in our cultural and political landscape. Then the answer is yes. If you take action to protect the environment, help the old, or vulnerable people, I believe you are an activist. After collecting data from 979,000 respondents from 128 countries in 2021, OP has found significant and meaningful upward trends with an increase of more than 79% compared with 2019 in informal political activities such as protesting and demonstrating among young teenagers and young adults if they want to find their rights in their society. More than 75% of those participating are young people aged from 14 to 27. 35% of those are 14 to 19, and 40% is 20 to 27. This means that if based on the Earth's population, if 8 billion of us need to stand up for our rights, then more than 2.8 billion are the young generation. Those vast impactful numbers show the importance of our teenagers' strength and spirits who fearlessly stand up to create a better world. That's what I think, but let's see how people judge the young today.
Complicated, unusual, childish,
they're lazy,
stupid,
materialized,
rebellious,
irresponsible, conflictive,
unconcerned,
promiscuous,
stubborn,
demanding,
selfish.
To me, those comments are wrong. Those are all misconceptions about generation. But what if the young generation hear these words and start disbelief in themselves? After watching that video, whose opinion do you side with? Me or the people in the video? When neglecting or losing such great source of power, will our society be okay? Maybe some of the listeners would think that it's just pure luck for teenagers to create impacts. But do you believe that teenagers can change the law of a state with the strength of just 4 of them? According to data of Origin Health Authority, nearly 17% of 8th graders had reported seriously contemplating taking their lives in 2019. Until now, school that will only apply to excuse absences related to physical illnesses. Even though many businesses are becoming more open about discussing mental health, there is no law that forces school or employers to recognize mental health issues as an excuse for having a day off. Because of that, Haley Hardcastle and other teen campaigners, Sam Adamson, Laurie Riddle, and Derek Evans, they were all 18 in 2019, but they had succeeded to change the law for the issue with mental and behavioral health. Students in Origin will be able to take mental health days in the same way they take 6 days under the new law. And thanks to this law, students are more likely to open up about their feelings because they know that mental health issues has been formally recognized by their school. That's an example of the strength of 4 teenagers. How about the strength of a group of teens? In the spring and summer of 2020, young people massively showed their support at the Black Lives Matter marches, which drew millions of demonstrators worldwide. On the street, groundwell of teens and 20-ish came together to protest against racial injustice. On social media, they mobilized the participation, calling for their peers to speak out and stand up for the equal rights of all. From this series of activism, the discrimination issue has been widely spread with more than 1.1 billion times the keyword Black Lives Matter appearing on social platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, along with a huge positive impact on the social landscape.
This is America. Walk out slipping up. Look out, living up. Police be tapping up. This is America. Under my order. I got respect.
just the impact in the US only. What about on a global scale? Amanda Ngọc Nguyễn, founder of RISE, a 2019 Nobel Peace Prize nominee and a 2022 Time Woman of the Year. She graduated from Harvard University, served in the White House, Department of State, and NASA, and is currently an astronaut scientist candidate at the Astronautical Science Institute. Also, she is an amazing example for providing hard work from teens to adults to create impacts for a better world. From the age of 19, she chose to volunteer in impoverished countries. Amanda did not mind the difficulties to help the women who did not have the voice and the orphanage here. However, in 2013, there was a traumatic event that changed her life. When she was the final year student at Harvard University, in her dormitory, she became the victim of sexual assault. At that time, after the girl submitted her medical evidence to the state government, she received a pamphlet which said that the evidence would be destroyed if she did not apply for an extension, but did not have any specific instruction on how to do it. That process made her realize the loophole in the law for victims of sexual assault. Basically, this system made me always live my life like the day I was raped, she told The Guardian. Realizing the unfairness of the current law, she decided to implement a bold idea, that is to rewrite American law. And after a long time fighting for the rights of sexual assault victims, she made history by drafting and passing both the Sexual Assault Survivor Bills of Rights and Survivor Resolution. After that, in 2014, she founded RISE, a non-profit organization that protects survivors of sexual assault. This organization has helped more than 135 million people all over the world until this day. So, teen activism can create impacts, and teenagers are spreading ethics. Do you still remember the question I asked you at the beginning? Youngster, do you believe if I call you an activist? Just by taking action to protect the environment, help the old, or vulnerable people, you are an activist. You are already an activist who has the strength, power, and influence to create a better world. I believe in us. I believe in our next generation. Teen activists have taken extraordinary steps all over the world. But for the first step to create big impacts, we don't need to do something that is so big. I want you to start with simple things first to start our journey together, okay? And now I need you to help me to fill in these blanks. The first sentence I need your help is, I cherish something and I want to protect that thing. The second sentence I want you to help me is that thing facing any problems or limitations? And the last sentence is, if I do something, will it be better for that thing? For example, in my case, I really love children and I want to protect them. I always care about the news related to children and question myself if there are any problems that I can help with. And usually there will be news about children facing difficulties in remote areas. In rural and remote areas in Vietnam, students have to walk on a very long and dangerous road to go to school. They have to use old books, old clothes for their studying. But what makes me shocked is that they don't even have a proper meals before or when attending classes because their families do not have enough money to afford that. Knowing that, I really want to find a way to help them because I know I have enough capability to support 1 or 2 children to have nutritious meal for their studying. Since then, I started to search for volunteer projects and which will have the students in remote areas, and Noi Am is one of them. I just have to donate around $3 to $5 a year to be able to support a child with meals while he or she attending school for that 1 year. I believe with my action, that child will have a better future. So, I want all of you to start your journey with these 3 questions. Why? Because you will devote yourself to the one you love and cherish. When you think about the person, the thing you love, you will become more sensitive and easy to realize what problems they have to face nowadays. Last but not least, when you fill in the last sentence, that definitely a thing you can do for the one you want to protect. The time you fill in that sentence is just time to consider about the possibility of the action. But it's definitely possible to do. So, start with love and kindness. Think about what we can fix. And from that, continue to protect what you want to and need to protect. However, please help me. Please do not turn activism into a trade-off. Even though you are an advocate for the environment, you still cannot kill a person just because he or she throw a piece of trash into the environment. But do wiser thing to change the mindset. And remember, don't trade everything you have for what you protect. And have you ever wondered what the world would be if teens disbelieved themselves, cope with losses in silence, and stop demanding reforms for wrong and unfairness? Do you think our world would be dark like this? 3, 2, 1. We, teenagers, should be aware of how powerful we are as agents of change. We should start and keep fighting until we're confident that the cause has been won and everyone is living a more equal and secure environment. Since the people in charge of protection had fallen short for their duties, we can be the change agents. We can put an end to discrimination, fighting homophobia, racism, poverty, global warming, and other global problems we face on daily basis. We are influencing both our own and the world's future. So, light it up with teen activism. In 3, 2, 1. Thank you.